we decided that we're going to be going to Logan, West Virginia, and it's going to be Logan County because it's a real small town. It's only about 1,800 people. Hello, Nika. You're good. So we just signed this up, and our dates are going to be from June 11th through the 16th. It would be the 17th if we would be deciding to do a last day trip to the Ark Encounter in Kentucky on the way back. So it's June 11th, which is a Sunday. We would be leaving here on the Sunday, and then we would be working throughout the week, and then Friday we would be leaving Friday morning. So either if that would be travel straight back to Marshall, or if we would have an additional day on there. So these are the slides that are coming up. So we're going to talk about YouthWorks. That's the organization that we're going to be working through here. Why Logan County specifically? Ignites vision, so our vision as a youth group. Our mission team, who's all incorporated in this. Travel and stay, a day on site, costs and fundraisers, why joy, and further communication. So this is just a general layout, just being able to cover all these main points, and hopefully it answers the majority of the questions. So right away, so this is a video about YouthWorks. This is the organization that we are choosing to go through.
At YouthWorks, we value the relationship we have with communities and the partnerships we have. And I would say that that has been a journey for us. We were introduced to a book called When Helping Hurts and read it as a team and realized that we weren't bringing God into the community, that God was already there and at work, and that we were coming alongside of what he was already doing.
Taking a posture that was more a responsive posture to the community helped us get outside that box and say, these are some ways that we have served in the past, but instead of saying, which would you like, A, B, or C, we said, how could we serve you? Maybe in one of these ways, but maybe in a way that's very different.
It was a lot more authentic. I really feel like it made us more of who we were meant to be as an organization and what God was calling us to do in the communities. We can't do mission trips without the community, that it has to be youth plus community, and that's what equals a successful experience, and that's what's going to impact students.
Our neighborhood knows who YouthWorks is. They know Shannon, they know, can I say names? They know Shannon, they know Esteban, they know Aviva, they know Molly, they know all these people from YouthWorks because of the intentional relationships YouthWorks staff has made with our neighborhood. It's crazy because we have members of our church now who are only members of our church because of YouthWorks.
And through those partnerships and through that relationship building, YouthWorks has become empathized and has been able to be a part of this community. Empathy is when you get to link arms with people and say, you know, your pain is my pain. You know, your struggle is our struggle. So when they come to serve, it's not just, oh, I feel sorry for you and like it's a sympathetic outreach, but it's reaching over and grabbing the arms of the neighbors and saying, let's walk forward together.
People do not understand when you go into a place and you act like you're better or you act like you know more. You guys don't know us. You don't know what we've been through. You don't know what shortcomings we have faced, what obstacles are in front of us. You have an idea of what you think you know, but if you don't get to know the people that you're ministering with or that you're building with or you're fellowshipping with or you're building relationships with, how are you going to serve them? YouthWorks says, hey guys, we're messed up too, and we're trying to make it work together. So can we help you guys? Can you guys help us? What can we learn from you? What can you guys learn from us? It's a partnership.
And I believe that good service is about knowing the people and being in a relationship with the people that you're serving.
YouthWorks digs deep and makes those relational impacts and like connections, and it makes it feel like you guys actually care about us. That's why I love it.
If we get into stronger relationships with people in the community, if we know them and they know us, we can be much better at not just asking the question, but hearing the answer.
I just love to hear the kids talk about the people that they meet, and not just the friends that they go and create, but the community members that they work with. These mission trips change me and like help me see the world differently through being able to look at other perspectives and other people's lives.
It's great when kids from two separate worlds understand that they're not really that different from each other.
Over the course of the day, we get a chance to talk about kids in the community, seniors in the community. We get a chance to talk about poverty. So I think there's some visibility here that kind of awakens in these kids questions that they know that life is real.
With the lady I worked with, she was going through a struggle. She was poor, and it would have been easy to go in just judging our house and how it looked in her life. Getting to know how she handled her struggle and being able to stay faithful to God, and you learn to understand her situation and how it was hard for her. Just kind of learn how to get to know people before judging them.
When I see a student sitting across from someone at a community dinner and they're sitting and listening to the story of that person, and then afterwards they can say, hey, now I understand why this person is homeless, because I sat and I listened to their story. So before I make judgments of people and before I jump to conclusions about who they are based on how they look or what I think their situation is, I'm going to stop and I'm going to learn more about their story.
We found these people that were happy and smiling, even though not everything was perfect in their world. They showed us that even when you don't have everything, you can still be just as happy and just as good with God as someone who does have everything they would ever want.
I think without doing these service projects, you would never know some of the amazing people that are out there. And unless you do this kind of things, you never hear their stories.
But throughout the week, I really think that these communities start to take hold of the students and impact them. They realize that this isn't about how good I feel, but these are living, breathing, thriving communities that we get to be a part of.
Perfect. So that's our About Youth work. So it's just a little bit of them sharing their heart and kind of the flow and kind of their purpose and how they go about their weeks. Oh, that looks weird. But why Logan County? So Logan County, this is a picture of Logan, West Virginia. So it's a small mountain town in the rugged Appalachian Mountains. And it's coined the friendliest town in West Virginia. So even though it's a really impoverished town, it's extremely friendly, extremely safe. So that's an encouraging thing when it comes to safety for the students and safety for all youth workers. But it used to be a big booming coal mining town in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Had a lot of traffic coming in. Everyone was coal mining. They were making a lot of money. And then there was a coal mine explosion, and basically since then it's just been a straight dive down in people moving out because there isn't a whole lot of options for work. Their unemployment percentage is twice as much as Marshall, and they're at 6.9% of families live in what would be classified as poverty. So there's a huge need, and the big reason why YouthWorks is Youth Plus Communities is because we're trying to get youth to come in to serve and to be able to plug into communities to culminate an environment to be able to put back efforts into communities so that they can be thriving on their own. It's not to just come get a job done, but it's to go and leave a lasting impact for their communities as well. So Ignites Vision, so we are desiring to serve 1 week in a community of high need to be equipped to serve 51 weeks in our community of need. This is where we go and we do serve in West Virginia is our desire to go there and to help them out, but also to remember that this is where we're at for the rest of the year. A lot of times we kind of feel like for those who have gone on a mission trip before, who have maybe talked to someone who's gone on a mission trip, where they feel like this high of going on a mission trip, and it's like I was serving, I was in the trenches, I was just like pouring all out, and then I come back and I feel like I get into the regular routine of life, and everything is just the same back home. But this is our mission field. This is our mission field that God has given us every other day of the week. It's our friends that are in school, it's our neighbors in the communities, and a big thing is we're trying to be intentional with parents coming alongside the youth, that it's not just the youth that are going, but also this is culminating this within our families. be able to build that up. So our mission team, so we're gonna have youth leaders. So these are for the chaperones of the trip. I will for sure be going and leading the trip. That was a picture from when we were down in Texas on our mission trip. I got a cowboy hat, and I got the name Cowboy Coop from our head contractor. He pulled out a cowboy hat out of his truck, and he was hanging on to it for a few months, and I don't know why he never wore it, but he was like, I was waiting for someone to give it to, so he gave it to me. So that was really special. But we'll be having chaperones. For every 7 students that we have, we need at least 1 leader. So first thing we're going to be doing is looking at our Ignite youth group leaders, reaching out to them who's desiring to go. But then second in line is going to be parents who desire to take a week and to invest that to be able to come alongside your kids. So we'll be in open conversation about, okay, how many kids are we having? How many leaders do we have? Is there a need to branch out for increasing our chaperones for the trip? The students, I mean, this is you guys. This is you guys coming and serving on the trip, pouring out your gifts to be able to help a community. That's in great need. It's an incredible experience. It's an incredible thing to go out there and serve the kingdom. And parents, like, even if you're not coming on the trip, you have a huge role in your children's lives. You guys are with them more than anyone else. Being able to pray for us in the trip, being able to communicate with your kids, talking about the upcoming plans, helping just process, like, hey, how are you feeling? Like, how can we continue to pursue this and discuss this? Is just an incredible thing that you guys get to do to come alongside your kids in this. So then travel and stay, so the transportation, we do have the bus, but with Logan County specifically, I think it's a little bit too big. I'll call and make sure, but on their registration, they said that just passenger vans is as big as we can get. So I don't know what parking looks like, if that's gonna mean on side streets or why the bus would be too large for that. But specifically for us, we would have passenger vans. We would like to reach out first to our church, to our community, for people to offer their vehicle to drive, or if there would be compensation in some way, or we would rent out through Enterprise or something like that, being able to find vehicles in that way. The lodging, when we're staying there, it's going to be minimalistic. We're probably going to be bunking in a church or some other community center area. It's going to be hands-on. We're there to serve. It's not going to be luxury, but then the fun that gets out of it at the end would be going to the Ark Encounter. So if any of you guys have been to the Ark Encounter in Kentucky, it's an incredible place. Kaden and I, we went with Joe and Jocelyn last year, and we did a crazy weekend trip down to Kentucky, saw the Creation Museum and the Ark. But it's a biblical take on everything in creation. So from Genesis 1 to Genesis, I don't know what chapter specifically they go through, but at least through the flood and through everything and just the days of creation, and just, it's an amazing experience being able to see that, oh, like, we can trust science to prove, like, to show us the Bible is true, because there's so many of these things, like the separation from church or the Bible and science, but actually science proves everything that is true in the Bible, and actually the Bible is the reason why science can be true and a foundational thing. So it's a super incredible experience being able to go there. That's on our bucket list because that's only an 11-minute detour on the way back. So that's all that it changes. So it was just when we were planning this, and it was just the Lord was really kind. That seemed like an incredible opportunity to be able to go there for students as well. Okay, and then so this is just going to be a video of day on site, kind of walking us through what does it look like a day serving at a YouthWorks location. For specifically in Logan County, it's going to be things like painting, cleaning, yard work, other service project type things. It isn't going to be like we're working on a house project or like we're doing disaster relief. It's going to be real simple things, just being able to invest in the community and being able to bring community members into that, working alongside with community members who are also desiring to pour into their own communities. Just a really awesome way of serving in children's programmings, elderly populations. yeah, just a great way of being able to serve and meet the needs of all the people.
Wondering what a week is like with YouthWorks? On Sunday afternoon, your group and others will arrive to your YouthWorks community where you'll serve for the week. That evening, you'll eat dinner, hear an orientation, and have your first gathering and get introduced to the summer theme. After this, everyone will spend time with their own church group, and the YouthWorks staff meets together too. Then lights out for everyone. Monday through Thursday are essentially the same. Each morning, the YouthWorks staff will lead a small crew of teens and adults to prepare breakfast for the large group. During breakfast, everyone will also pack a lunch for the day. After breakfast, everyone does devotions. When devos are done, it's time to head out to service site. This is where you'll spend most of the day, either helping with kids programming, doing work projects, or partnering with local service organizations. In the afternoon, everyone will enjoy a shower and a little free time. Again, the YouthWorks staff will lead a crew of teens and adults to make dinner. Then it's off to evening activity, to learn, have fun, and connect with the community. After the activity, everyone will gather for a time of worship, processing the experience, and consider how the trip impacts life back home. Once again, everyone goes to church group time while the YouthWorks staff meets. And then lights out. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you will repeat that same schedule. On Friday morning, everyone goes back home while the staff prepare for the next week of mission trips.
And then so when we're getting into costs and fundraisers, so this is a little early on to be able to tell what we're going to be running for prices and stuff like that. I can see the front value of what YouthWorks asks us to register, but incorporating fuel and fundraisers and additional things and donations and different scholarships and opportunities like that. It's just susceptible to change within these next couple months, but with fundraisers that are going to be coming up, we have the Valentine's Supper, which is going to be on Sunday, February 19th. The youth get to help with that. We get to be intentional, dress up nice as the parents have a fancy night out at the church. And donations will be going towards the youth and towards the mission trip fund specifically. We have our youth Lenten meal, which is going to be on March 1st. And then also Thriving cards, we're going to be pairing with any parents or other community members like that are in our church that have Thrive and Action Team cards that are an awesome way to be able to put money towards gas for the trip, or being able to put money towards a specific aspects of our trip, if that would be a van rental or whatever it would be. But these are additional things, additional fundraisers and things that we're going to be doing in these upcoming months. And then we get to our Why Join page. Because it's an incredible way to be able to serve and to be able to put our faith into action, to be able to build authentic relationships, not only with the people that you're going with, but being able to build authentic relationships with the people that you're serving, the people that you're getting to meet them where they are, and being able to gain a confidence and recognize the gifts that God has given you, like for you youth, to be able to recognize God has given you specific gifts to be able to use in your community. And this is an incredible way where you get to go and you get to pour out gifts and you get to find out a lot about yourself in that you get to take back and know, like, I didn't realize it, but I'm really good at painting. And if someone's like, oh, we're remodeling our house and we're needing someone to help paint closets or paint rooms, it's like, hey, I'm actually pretty good at painting. Or you know what, maybe I like doing lawn work. I actually really enjoy trimming shrubs or mowing lawns. Like, I really love doing that. And you know what, the old lady down the street, I know that she has such a hard time mowing her lawn in the summer. Like, being able to know, hey, where can I meet people? Or helping with food. I really like prepping food. Like, being able to help with church functions and stuff like that. It's a real great way to be able to see your gifts and know how to serve in your own community when you come back. So these are just kind of four big pillars or things that are good to consider and to know, like incentives of why should we come. By getting to come alongside communities, using our skills, getting to humbly serve and help them out, building relationships with the people around us. A big thing is disconnect. This may not be a big sell point, but I think this is the biggest thing I hear from youth or even from adults or with me, a reason why we're not pursuing our own personal relationship with Jesus, or we're not sticking to our Bible reading plan or our disciplines, stuff like that. It's because we're so busy, we're so overwhelmed. It's because even in the summer, usually the summers are more busy than the school year, because as soon as we see that there's open space on our calendars, we are inclined to fill it up, to do it with stuff. So I've seen personally with myself getting to go on mission trips and having no agenda except for be present, put my phone away. I don't need my phone for a week. And just being able to have morning devotionals, getting to have that. I've seen the Lord speak to me so much through his word, more than so many other times here where you have those distractions around you. And yeah, getting to see him work in awesome ways. When I went up with Living Word to the Alaska mission trip 2 summers ago, we were talking about stories as we were up there. It was the men's trip. We were talking about stories of the way that God has just worked in incredible ways on mission trips that just show testimony to himself and moving around in our lives. And they were talking about in one of the small villages in the northern part of Alaska, where you can only fly planes into the villages. There's no roads that go out there, where they had to mail and plane ship specific parts for this engine, because they had a big machinery that fell down, and they needed to get it fixed. And they get all these components to this engine or for this system, and it doesn't come with an instruction manual to put it together. And they're just like, well, Lord, I guess you've handed this to us. We don't know how to put this together. And it has like 20 different connections, and like, you don't know, they all fit interchangeably with one another. And they're like, well, let's put it together. And while praying and just seeking the Lord, and sure enough, they put it together the first time, and they try to start right up, it fires right up. And just like funny, crazy things like that was what we heard. And then we were helping build Greg's brother's deck, Stephen. We were building their deck because they have college students at their house all the time. And we got this big drill digger, this big auger to be able to put the posts in. And turns out they left the ignition switch on the whole time. And so it flooded the engine. And so when we got it back to the place, tried pulling it, just absolutely nothing, like it wasn't even turning over one little bit. And then we were hearing these stories, and we were like, well, like the Lord moves on these trips. And so we prayed, and we were just like, Lord, we're seeking you in this. And then I remember I asked, I was like, I want to be the one who pulls the ignition, or pull the pull start. And pulled the pull start, and it just roared. And it was super cool just getting to see things like that. The Lord being humorous and meeting people where they are. So a lot of great experiences, and even in the simple mundane things, tag, like time alone with God, just being like, wow, I've probably read this verse, or I've heard this verse how many times, or I've heard my parents talk about this, and now I read it and I see it with my own eyes, and it's like, feels like the Lord just highlighted the words on the page for me. Just an incredible thing. And then this kind of just gets us to further communication. If you guys don't have my phone number is 507-217-1387. If you want to reach out to me, or you can call the church or email me. Registration, all we're doing right now is just, if you go on the Church Center app, you can just go in there. It's real simple. It's simple. You're able to just put in your child's name in there, and it's just going to be a name registration, just showing like, yep, we're interested, we're committed, we'd like to keep on going through with this. There isn't any money tied to it yet. This is just to get a rough estimate, because our deadline time, which if you guys got the email, our deadline for our numbers is February 18th, which, praise the Lord, it's not January 18th like it was. I called them, and they're extremely graceful, and we're like, yes, we can push this back. He was like, I'm from St. Paul, I get it, there's snow, we're not able to go along these things, so we get an extra month being able to process and getting to talk through it, and we'll announce it at Ignite as well. So you can go on the Church Center app to be able to register, and then I'll just continue to bring additional updates as we get information. Any questions? I also have handouts that are like specific resources. They're kind of geared towards me, but as I look through them a little bit more, I'll find specific things where once we get like our team like finalized, like, yep, youth are wanting to go, and the parents that are there too, we'll be able to get those specifics, and we'll be able to hash out specific times and dates and travel and stuff like that. This is just a great, in general, overview of what the trip is, get you excited.